Kereisos Daf tes. As we said yesterday, a ger has to bring 2 birds or 1 animal. They are considered an oila. Why can't he bring a mincha? Says the Gemara, because a ger, we learn out from Klai Yisrael by Har Sinai. And Klai Yisrael by Har Sinai brought karbanos that had blood. A mincha doesn't have blood, so you can't bring a mincha. Rebbe says from the word kacham we learn that a ger is just like Klai Yisrael. Klai Yisrael by Har Sinai had 3 things. They had milah, like we say, v'domai chayi. They had the tefillah because there was hazah, there was sprinkled, and anytime you have hazah, you have to go to the mikvah. And third of all, there was zrikas hadam, as it says, v'yalu oilos, so ger also has to have zrika. A ger brings 2 birds, not 1, because anytime the Torah says to bring birds, it's always in a pair. There is, however, an exception, or 2, where a person says, R Eli Stefansky, he only has to bring 1. Why? Because that's a carbon adava, and we're talking about a ger who has a chiyuv to bring it. A woman also only brings 1 bird, because she brings an additional carbon, a keves, and that's the pair. Now one might ask, if there are no korbanos in our days, how could you make a ger? How can one become a ger? And the answer is because the Torah says there's gerus forever. However, according to the Tanna Kama, this ger must set aside enough money to buy a carbon. How much? A roiv dinar, which is the least amount, as we said the other day in the Mishnah, in the time of Rishim Gamliel, the price went down to a roiv dinar. Rabbi Yochanan was concerned that this will bring tatakala. One might use this money, so therefore he abolished this minhag. And in fact, we pass like Rabbi Shimon, who says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, you don't bring money, you don't set money aside. A person who accepts upon himself, a guy who accepts upon himself not to do avodah zarah is called a ger toshav. There's 4 shitas in the Gemara. The ger toshav, how does he treat Shabbos? According to Rabbi Shimon, he treats Shabbos like a Jew treats Chalamayid. He's allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for Davar Ha'avid, if he will have a loss. According to Rabbi Kiva, he's only allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for Tzorech Oichel Nefesh, for food, to cook, etc. And according to Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Yossi, a ger toshav has no isra at all to be Mechal Shabbos. And Rabbi Shimon adds, not only ger toshav, but also a guy, and also a amma and eved, a shich and eved, who were bought as a toshav. In other words, with the condition that they won't accept upon themselves the mitzvahs, they can be Mechal Shabbos whenever and however they want, and when in fact we pass like Rabbi Shimon. The Mishnah brings that typically a chatos comes for an aveira of shaygig. There are 4 cases where a person brings a chatos even on a mazid. First case is a shivcha charufa. The Torah says a double lashon, mechatosai asher chata, to teach us that even by a mazid. Now the pasuk itself is talking about mazid because since the shivcha harufa gets a malchus, the only way you can get malchus is if there was edim and asra. So obviously she knew, if she knew, he knew, it's mazid. The pasuk continues asher chata to tell us even in a case of a shagi. A nazir who became tamei also brings a chatos, even if it was b'mezid, because it says pesa pisoim. Pesa is for shagig, pisoim is even for mezid and oinos. And a person who swears falsely that he doesn't know testimony, he brings a chatos even though it's b'mezid, because it doesn't say in the Torah v'nelam like it says by all other shagigs, and therefore he brings a chatos. And a shvuas hapikadon we learn out from shvuas ha'edus in the Gzeir Shava. There are 5 that bring a carbon, 1 single carbon for many averos. As we said before, the 2 cases, a shivcha harufa is one of them. If a person was with a shivcha harufa many times, even if he knew in between what he was doing, he still brings 1 carbon. However, if it was 5 different shivchas, he brings 5 carbonis, because they're gufim mechulakim, they're separate bodies, and the Torah says v'hi shivcha. If it's 1 body, then you chayav only 1 carbon. A nazir who became tamei, even if he became tamei many times, he brings 1 carbon at the end. By a nazir, you sprinkle him twice. On the 7th day is the 2nd time that you sprinkle him, and you also shave his head. And on the 8th day, he brings a carbon. This is a machlokes. When does he restart his count of 7 clean days? Is it right after you shave his head and you sprinkle him, or is it the following day after he brings the carbon? According to Rabbi Yossi, it's right away when you shave his head. So according to Rabbi Yossi, we have a situation where a nazir can be tamei many times. That is, in between that period of after getting the hazah and shaving his head until he brought the carbon, he became tamei again. But according to Rebbe, he only starts his count once he brought his carbon, so there's no possibility of becoming tamei many times, because once he brought his carbon, he's already not tamei anymore. It's already a new count. Another case is if a person he's mekana to his wife. He tells his wife, don't be mistater, don't be misyachad with a man, and in this case he said it about many men, and she was mistater with them, so he brings her to the Beis HaMikdash and he brings 1 carbon for many men. A metzayra who saw many negayim brings 1 carbon for all the negayim. The chatas and oila that he brings are a carbon oil of yored. Like the Torah says, Asher tasig yadai, but the Torah continues b'taharasai. What's b'taharasai? We have to determine if this man is a wealthy man or poor man. How do we determine it? At what point? Let's say he lost his money after he brought the tziparim or after he brought a chatas. What determines how wealthy he is? Three-way machlokes. Reb Shimon says taharasai means when he gets a kapara, which is after he brings the chatas. That's when we determine it. Rabbi Yehuda says when he brings this asham, because the asham allows him to eat kachim. And Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says it's when he brings the birds, although they're not considered a karban, but that starts the process of his tahara. A woman also, who gives birth many times, she has miscarriages, she brings one karban for all his miscarriages, or all her miscarriages, on condition that they are connected, that they are within 80 days of each other, as you see in the chart. Even if the third birth is 160 days from the first birth, according to Chachamim, she brings one karban, as long as there was a birth in between that connects the three. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you only have 80 days, because you start the count from the time that she gave birth first. According to Chachamim, you start the count, you bring the karban at the end, and the end goes all the way to the beginning. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, there's one more chiddush. If a woman gave birth to twins, and the second twin was born 80 days after the first, you still bring two karbanas. You don't say, well, it was one pregnancy, it was one long birth. She still brings two karbanas. Have a wonderful day.